Yay, Sam, we're here. We're recording live. I'm so happy that we're having this conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited to finally it's happening.
Yes, finally. It's so good. I think we've had like some little test runs of when we were working together. So I thought I would give you an introduction from how I met you and then
Yes.
hand over and just ask you to share a bit about your business.
Okay,
So
that'll be great.
perfect. So Samantha Dube is here with me today, and I worked with Samantha last year. When I was looking for a VA, I kind of posted in a few Facebook groups looking for referrals and recommendations, and Samantha's name came up. But I think there were like 3 people who recommended you in one post. And then
Yes.
I set up a few calls with you. I set up a call with a few different people, and I also checked out your profiles online. And I think the thing that really was so inspiring and what made me really want to work with you was that you had a YouTube channel, you were on Instagram, and you had at that point you had a website. I think you've changed it since, but it was
Yes.
like everything just looked so good. I loved your YouTube channel, and I also loved that you were like reading all these books on Instagram and posting about what you were learning. And so it's just like, yeah, your energy, your style, it really made me want to work with you. And then we worked together last year, and so we did you supported me as a VA, which was incredible. I was able to like get so much more done in my business in those 3 months. My like Pinterest account took off. I had this extra support that I could create this Facebook group, start these live videos, and I just would never have had the space to do that if I hadn't been working with you. And then on top of that, we did a coaching exchange, so I also got to experience your coaching and like that real in-depth support around how to think about myself, how to think about my business and like my finances on my business in a totally different way. And you really like pushed me and challenged me to think of myself, not just, I was thinking of like supporting myself through my business, and you were teaching me to think about my business as its own entity and my
Yes.
life as its own entity, and not like merge
Yes.
these things together. So
Exactly.
yeah, so it was just brilliant. I like loved working with you, and I'm so excited for you to share your story on how you built your business, and any other gems of insight and wisdom, because I know you've got so much to share. So thank you for giving me your time today and joining me. And do you want to just tell me a little bit about where you're at now with your business, and how do you describe your business at the start of 2021?
Yeah. So thank you so much for having me on here, and hi everybody who's watching. So with my business starting in 2021, it's been kind of slow, but I'm looking to see next week things are gonna pick up. I've been focusing a lot on social media management, but when I started in July actually, I had been retrenched in May of 2020, and so having been retrenched before that, so like I don't know, many years before that, I knew that it would take me a while to get a new job. And I also knew with the current market, current economy, and everything that's going on, it might actually take longer. So I decided to take charge of my job situation and do something about it. I had been previously doing some research on working online, working for myself. So I kind of knew where to start. But in June of 2020, I like bogged down. I did the research. I'm like, okay, what can I do? What are my skills? What is available? What are the options? And then I saw virtual assistant was the most suitable for me with my current skills and what I could offer. And there is a space. Yes, like any other job, you hear, oh, it's highly saturated, blah, blah, blah. But there's a space for everyone. That's why we have Coke and Pepsi and all the other drinks.
Totally.
And that's always in my motto, there's space for everyone. And so when I jumped in, I knew I was gonna find some people. And then straight off the bat, I got my first client, who was someone I collaborated with on Instagram. And then right after that, that's when we started working together. And with you, that's how the doors opened up now. Because now when we were doing our coaching exchange, I was getting business coach advice, but I was also getting a client on retainer, and the key thing I did was leveraging what I have. So I leveraged my skills, like this is what I've got. And then the next thing I did was leverage my social media. So I put it out there to everyone because I have experience in looking for a job. And that was one of the top tips was when you're looking for a job, tell everyone that you're looking for a job. So that's what I did. I told everyone on my social media that I'm now a virtual assistant and I'm looking for clients. And that's how the people who referred me to you, they're not people I've worked with in this particular line of work. Um, that's how they referred me to you, because they knew, okay, Sam is a virtual assistant and they've already seen the previous things I've done, like the content I was posting on my Instagram is kind of in line with the work I'm doing. You know, I was posting about goal setting, planning, healthy living, finance, and those are the things I do in my business. So leverage what you have.
Amazing. It's so good. Yeah, I love that. And the thing that was interesting to me was what was it that got you into social media in the first place? Like, and especially your YouTube channel, because you were creating that even before, while you were still in your job, right? Like,
Yes,
that's
yes.
been around for a while. So what got you into that in the first place?
Because I started blogging a long time ago, and then I found that I liked video content more than writing, because I didn't think my writing was very strong. So I started doing YouTube, but I didn't realize YouTube takes a lot more work and a lot more effort. But I enjoyed the work on camera. I enjoyed splicing the videos together, putting it all together, and even watching other YouTubers. I really like that. So that's how I jumped onto YouTube. I actually shut down my blog and I've said I'm going to focus on YouTube. But then I got busy and I started doing other things.
Okay. So it was really just for fun. Like, did you think of it as a business venture when you started, or was it just like a creative outlet for you?
It's just a creative outlet at the time.
Yeah, that's so great. But what I love about that is that you actually have that like experience, and you were able to share so much insight with me when I wanted to then set up my YouTube channel. Like, there were things that I just would never have known, and because you'd been through it, you could help me.
Yes.
So yeah, like I think leveraging your experience, but often it's not even just your work experience, it's your own personal experience. And also with your blog writing, like you gave me tips and ideas of blogs that I could write, and topics of things. So I think that's also like, it's just have fun, even if you don't know that this is going to translate into a job. It's like just constantly learning. And I think that's actually another huge strength of yours, is that you learn so much. So I think it would be fun to also hear about your schedule and like the types of because you set aside a full day for learning, or do you set aside a few hours for learning? Yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
A
full day. Is that still happening?
Yes, that's still happening. So my current schedule is Mondays Mondays and Tuesdays is when I like to do my meetings, you know, like my calls and stuff like that. So because I'm fresh from the weekend, especially now there's no alcohol.
Totally.
Fresh from the weekend, don't have a hangover. I want to do my calls, finish them up. Then Wednesdays I do like my personal admin, sorting out my marketing for my website. If there's any blog posts to be written, if there's any content for Twitter, Facebook, all those platforms, I try to do it on Wednesdays. And then Thursdays, which is the day I set aside time for learning. So any extra things that I need to do, because I actually had one client who asked me to do something and I didn't know how to do it. So I had to figure that out. And so I've decided that Thursday is the day I figure things out before I'm asked if I can do it or not. And then Fridays is my day for finishing up tasks. Saturdays, I try to have some coaching calls, but at the moment I'm on hold with my finance coaching right now. But that was for Saturdays. And then Sundays was like my proper rest day, my full day to just recharge and, you know, sit on the couch.
I love it. It's so good. And it's also so inspiring to me, the way you structure your time and your days. And I just wonder, is there anything that's ever held you back? Like, it sounds like you're very confident, you're happy to put yourself out there, you're brave to try new things. But have you ever felt like a resistance, or does it just come naturally to you to put yourself out there?
So I am actually very lazy.
What? Never.
it like it like really takes me. So if it's not written down, it doesn't get done. Okay. If I get an excuse like, oh, there's no power, it doesn't get done. You know, so I'm the type of person who, because I know the type of person I am, I've come to a point where I will buffer for those things. So now I know, I've got a call with Lee, I'm gonna write it down. if I didn't write it down, I might forget it. So I know I have to prepare for that call. What are the things I need to do to prepare for the call? So that means I need to do my makeup. So I wrote that down. Do the makeup. If there's no power, what am I supposed to do if there's no power? That means take my computer, go to a cafe where there's power and work. So that type of thing, because as long as there's a chance for me not to do it, I will take it happily. And so it's come to a point where either I think about the people involved in the situation. So I love accountability groups. I'm always doing masterminds with other people because I know, okay, I told someone I'm going to do this. There was a time when I was doing my fitness journey, I used my Instagram. So I'll post on Instagram, today I worked out, and then I'll post my Fitbit stats on there because I was using other people to help me be accountable. So that's how I generally run. It's either lists or accountability through other people.
It's amazing. It's so good. And it's so funny because it's almost like our weaknesses become our strengths in some ways, because you have to like really focus on how am I going to make myself overcome this tendencies that I have. But at the same time, I think it's also often where probably your standards might be higher than other people's. So what feels lazy to you is actually just because you are a high performer. Like all I see is that you like super efficient, you work really hard, like you get so much done. The fact that you've got all these tools and techniques, it kind of makes me think of you, yeah, that's more like high performance mentality than the lazy mentality. And the fact that you kind of take some breaks is just normal. Like, anyway, that's my opinion. But I love that tip anyway. Like the fact that it's you write things down, you're consistent, you're dedicated, you think about other people. Those are just great tips, because the people I'm working with, a few people looking at starting up their own VA businesses, and even whatever business, other businesses, people are often nervous of putting themselves online. But that doesn't seem like a challenge to you. But also, I love that tip of like, if it's written down, I'm going to do it. So these are the steps I need to go through. And it's kind of just like you follow them regardless of how you're feeling internally. You just go through those steps. And clearly it's working. So that's really great.
But on that, if I'm having a down day, then I will allow myself to have the down day. I allow myself to feel the feelings, to eat the ice cream, whatever. I do allow myself that. It's just that I know enough to know that sometimes if I go down that road of allowing myself, I'm gonna keep going down instead of coming back. So sometimes I want to stop myself quickly enough before things get out of hand. So that's why I like the list. Like even when I'm cleaning, like on Saturday, I'll write it down, because go on Instagram, you can be there 3 hours, go on, and you don't know what you've done because you've just been on Instagram. Sometimes, like right now, I'm cleaning up my Instagram, so I can say, oh, I was working. I'm working, but I'm not really, because I'm either removing posts that are no longer relevant, or I'm unfollowing people that are not relevant. But that should be done in a certain amount of time, So there was a time when I was a stickler for this. I would actually set alarms and be like, 20 minutes. Once the timer is gone, I go off. Now, I don't know, 2020 happened. That's my excuse right now.
Totally. That's really good. I use alarms a lot, and I've actually set a timer on my phone for Instagram. So it cuts me off after 15 minutes. And then I've got to like reset for another 15 minutes, but I know I'll always like only be on for that long. So alarms are super helpful. Yes. And have you always been into personal development and like productivity and things like that?
No, but once I started, I think I started shortly after I started blogging. So 2008, 2009, thereabout. Then I started the journey. But I think the big thing that helped was reading that book, The Alchemist. Once I read that book, it kind of like really put me on the journey to personal development, self-help, all those type of things, and really like thinking about the way I do things. Before then, it was just whatever. I read lots of romance novels. I think I read 60 in 1 year.
Wow. I can understand the appeal though. Yeah.
And so it was that type of thing when I've got, oh, sorry, life people, I've got lipstick in my teeth.
I can't see it. I need to fix my hair.
I can see it now. And so once I saw, okay, if I can read 60 romance novels, why not read 60 self-help? And I haven't read 60, not in 1 year, because many of them, especially like for this year, I'm planning on reading only 15. But the plan is when I read the 15, I'm going to do the exercises in the book, not just read and blaze past, you know.
Nice.
So it's been a journey. My best year though was 2018. Like when I look back, when I do my reviews, my best year was 2018 when I was like at my fittest, at my most productive. Everything was down to a T, but then I was not spontaneous. So something had to give. And there was a part of me not having fun. So that's what I've been working through now. Like, where can I be productive and where can I have fun? And can I be productive in a fun way, like together? So it's a bit of a juggle, but I'm getting better at it and I'm using it to be more effective even in my business. Like now there are certain people who've approached me for work and I'm like, no, I don't want to work with this person because of how they do things or how they're not organized. Because at the moment I'm working on hourly rates. If they're not organized, that takes away from me the time because I'm busy organizing the stuff for them, and then I don't get any work done. And then you tell the person, oh, I've done this for 5 hours and we're now fighting about small things. So I've really been pushing my business in a way that even when I do a call with a potential client, I want to assess, do we gel together? Do we have the same values? Like with you, I already know you like reading books. We like most of the same things based on what I've seen on your Instagram. And then when we talked, we gelled, like when we had our face-to-face. I'm like, yes, this is the client I want to work with. When I interviewed someone after working with you, I now had my template. I'm like, I want clients like Lee. This is my template.
I love that. Thank you.
This is my template. She pays on time. She shows up for meetings, all those type of things. I'm like, this is the template. Now I'm not saying I'm not gonna work with someone who doesn't agree with me or that type of thing, but there has to be a standard. What are we looking to do together, and do we communicate well together? Because communication is important, especially because we're working online. We can't see each other all the time. So how we communicate. If I say to you, I'm sending an email in the morning, I must send it in the morning before 12 or before 1, I guess, would still be morning, that type of thing. And yeah, I've really been challenging myself to think about the types of clients, the types of service, and maybe from next year, because this year I don't know how it's going to go, but maybe from next year, I'm really going to get down to growing the business now. Like right now, it's all about testing things, pushing things. Even my services, I'm niching them down. Before I was offering, as you called it, a buffet of services. And I'm bringing it down. I'm seeing a lot of need for social media, which is what, like all the clients I've had so far, it's social media or research. So that's what I'm doing now because I see that's where I'm needed, and that's why I need to learn more social media things.
It's so good. You've spoken on quite a few things like that I'd like to dig into a little bit more. Just trying to think where to start because there's so much. I mean, I really love that interviewing your clients. I think that's really good. And I also feel like when I'm coaching a business owner, I think about like how can they be a leader in their business? Because ideally you do have support of a team. Like I think that is a nice thing to have. I mean, it's fun being a solopreneur, but there's also limitations you're always going to come up to as one person doing everything on your own. So if you want to grow a team, then how do you be a leader and show up so that you can actually like run your business effectively? And so it's great to have that like supported on the other side. But if you're being hired into somebody's team as a virtual assistant, to ensure that they're stepping up to that role of also like showing up for themselves and showing up to their business. And I had to show up for my business more when I was working with you because I had to be on time and I had to be organized. So it's like it's an added bonus of
Mm.
having a team. It gives that extra structure. So I really love that around interviewing the people that you're working with, being selective in the clients that you're working with. I definitely want to speak more about like the packaging of your services and the hourly rate versus the niching down. But before we go there, I just want to go back to the Alchemist, because that was like in the back of my mind going, I just want to know more around like, what was it? What was that spark in the Alchemist book that really got you like thinking that you needed to change things for yourself?
I think we can link this later, but I also have a video on the 5 books that changed my life, and it's one of them. And there's a quote about the universe works to give you what you want. I'm paraphrasing.
Sure.
You can go and read the book.
Yeah.
But that for me was, it was like, so I can have anything I want. I can be anyone I want. And then obviously the journey that that boy goes through in the book, and the many lessons, but that one was the one that really struck a chord with me. It was like, so I just need to take charge of the way things are. And then there was the other one about things happening in threes, which I've been retrenched 3 times. So I would never ever be retrenched again. Okay. So and there were a few other things that happened in my life after I read that book that were mentioned in that book. But the things happening in threes for me was the retrenchment. It was like ding ding ding. Especially this last time, I was like, I didn't expect it. I honestly did not expect it. But when it happened, I was like, well, it is what it is. And then I also took charge of my career situation. But the fact that I could be who I wanted to be, I could take charge, I could fix things by changing the way I think, changing the way I do things, changing the people I interact with, and even the content I watch and stuff like that. I mean, I still watch Law and Order, but and those like criminal mind stuff. But I'm moving away from that slowly and slowly, because also it's a sort of another day. But there's something about TV programming, and in the certain shows that you watch, they, in a sense, dull your mind. So when I read that book, I'm like, what are the things I can do to change my life? And TV was my main thing. I had to start watching less TV. It's a struggle, but I'm getting better at it. I'm filtering what I watch, spending more time listening to podcasts, watching personal development videos on YouTube, and moving away from watching too much dark TV. So I will still watch comedies. I will still, but I'm moving away from dark stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, also what you said earlier around that balance between focusing on productivity and effectiveness versus having fun and having time out. Like, I know being in lockdown for me has kind of highlighted again that I need to create the space in my life to just switch off and relax and take time out. So I've watched way more TV. I think I went through a few years where I pretty much hadn't watched any TV. And that I was like a minimalist. I barely had any things. I like lived out of a suitcase, and I was nomadic, and I like didn't watch TV, and it was so regimented, my life. And now that I'm in lockdown, like I'm in one location, so I can have extra things. Like I can have small luxuries and extra things in my life. And TV has become like the time out. So it's something that I need to do more of, because it's just the circumstances. So finding those balances of like being kind to yourself, being gentle, still supporting yourself in your growth. Like, I like that that's kind of the journey that you're on also. So maybe we should touch now on the services. Like, I don't know how much there is to talk about this. I know when we were coaching together, this was a topic. Like you said, I was talking about the buffet versus kind of like coming up with specific packages that you can offer. But how is that going for you? So you're thinking of focusing more on social media. That's like the demand that you're seeing from your clients. But anything else you can talk about in terms of like how you're putting together your different services?
At the moment, it's still a challenge, but I am still doing a bit of research. But I've looked at, okay, what are the things I like, and what are the things that people want from me, and then I'm putting it all together. So I like social media, so I'm gonna keep offering that service. But personally, I like the money coaching, and I did do some trial coaching sessions with people, and I see there's a space for it. But at the moment, I'm not yet ready to jump onto offering that as a service. And then I've also been having issues with pricing, like because I've been pricing at an hourly rate, I want to move to packages. But how do I move to packages for social media for different people? Because everyone wants different things. Someone just wants scheduling, someone just wants research, and so I'm testing it out. I'm seeing how many clients I actually have who want a particular thing, and then that would be now a service. In terms of what I thought I would actually be doing when I decided to be a virtual assistant, which was the bookkeeping and the admin, none of that happened.
Yeah.
None of that happened. My very first client got me onto online store management. So I was just uploading the stock on the website. And then I did some research for her as well. And so it's like, I want to specialize by moving more into what people are asking of me and what I know I can do. So that's how it's moving to the social media. But the finance coaching is something I'm passionate about, something I want people, even if you see my videos on YouTube, most of them for the last year, for let's say 2019, 2020, were all about finance and just changing your financial life. That is like really important to me. So it's something I will at some point get onto, but not right now.
Yeah, but I also love this approach because it's almost like reminds me of when you started with your YouTube and your blogging. That was before you knew that this was going to become like a career option for you of being in social media and supporting people's businesses.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of pressure for things to be so quick, and like you've got to do something within, like there's just a pace of things right now. You like got to launch and create things in like very short spaces of time. But why not?
10K business in 6 months.
Yeah, like why not grow a coaching practice over 2 or 3 years? Like you're doing now, where you're building your VA business, which is incredible. You're getting clients, and that's actually been in the background almost. Well, I mean, you were working as an assistant in your corporate job, so you have years and years of experience. Plus, you've been in the online world. You can translate that all into a business, and then in the background, slowly build up this coaching practice over a number of years, so that when you're ready to launch, you've got like a huge foundation. So I think, yeah, I really like that approach. And I really am excited for you to become a finance coach, because when we were working together and just even seeing your content, like the passion is so clearly there. And it's also such a beautiful, like calling of yours to support women and getting their finances like in order. So it's such a great gift. I'm very excited that is a long-term goal of yours to get to. Yeah. But I also love that you're building your VA business. Like, I don't think it has to be, like a bad thing that one's on the back burner. Yeah. Cool. So maybe just let's think about, I don't know how long we've been going for, but let's talk about a little bit, any tips or advice or recommendations you'd give to anyone who is thinking about starting up their own VA business. And I'm just going to check in Facebook and see if there are any questions. But yeah, if you have any tips about how to get started, or like lessons that you've learned from last year, anything that you can share would be great.
I think the first thing would be to just start. Like, I know everyone says this, but imagine if I had started in 2018, when I did some background research and thought about it, where I would be now, like in terms of getting my business up and running. I would probably not have had to start from scratch when I lost my job. I might have even had to just quit the job first, instead of being pushed out. So I would say, if you're thinking of the idea, just start. Then obviously do the research. The most important thing, especially when it comes to online business, is make a list of your skills. What can you do? And as we've already discussed in today's call, is those skills doesn't have to be what you're doing in your corporate job. It can be what you're doing with your hobbies, what you're doing for your friends, what you're doing on the side, whatever. Just put it all together and think, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I like to do. is there something out there for people? And the next thing is to go to Google. Google everything. Like you find whatever you want. There's someone who's done it out there. It might be one person, might be two, or you might be the first person to do it, but just do your research and start. And don't worry about there being too many people. You don't need to have 200 clients to succeed, because in November, I actually made my income goals. With only
Congratulations.
4 clients. Well, we'll say 4 clients, but the other one is a wellness coaching client. Um, Something we'll talk about another time as well, like a little bit late. But yeah, so those are my tips. Just start, do your research, and think about what you can offer, and then take it from there. As you go along, as you get the information, whether it's you decide to do a course, or you decide to follow someone on Instagram or YouTube. If you're gonna follow someone though, follow like have a minimum number of people. So for me, for my social media, right now I'm following Latasha James and I think 2 or 3 other people, but she's like the number one. Well, how I view her content and stuff, she's like the number one. And then the other people are local, like someone in South Africa who's doing social media content, and then someone in the UK and someone in Asia, because this is an online business. I want to work with people anyway. So I also want to look at what the experts in those areas are doing. So that's my tip. If you're going to look at people's content, have a select number of people that you're taking advice from, not just everyone, anyone. Just follow those few people, because then it makes it easy for you to come up with ideas. It makes it easy for you to filter out the noise. Because like with social media, there's so many people. Like now, this whole six figures in 6 months, blah blah. There's really no need to blaze through your business. There's time. What you really need to know is within 6 months, maybe is this something I like to do? Is this something I want to continue doing? Then you continue. And then after a year, you ask yourself, am I making money, or am I whatever, whatever? Then for the next year, you move like that. Take your time.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it. And just to like check, the people that you're following, are they like role models or people whose business you want to emulate, or are they teachers? Like, how did you select the people that you're following that are inspiring you?
They are teachers in the field that I'm in. So with the services I'm offering, they're also teaching. So I get to learn, like with the social media stuff, like Tasha James, she talks about social media, like how to build your portfolio, where to find clients, that type of thing. And then it makes it easy. You don't have to, like, I know I said Google everything, but then you don't have to do that. There's someone who's already put all that information together. You go there, and then there's some free resources. I would at some point like to jump on to a few courses or coaching, like me being coached on a longer term, because our coaching was like 1 month, but I would also like to do something more long term. But they're free resources. Start with those.
Get started. Absolutely. Yeah. And did you find any examples of people who have the same kind of business that you want to have, like other VAs or other social media managers? Do you do any kind of like almost competitor research, but just finding other people who have the same kind of business as you?
Not really. What I noticed, especially with virtual assistants, is the whole buffet style of offerings. And I want to move away from that. But I didn't look, because also when you then look down to, that's how comparison comes into play. Yes, you want to see what other people are doing, but you don't want to see exactly that they're doing what you are doing. Because then you think, oh, but she's got 10 clients. I want 10 clients. Oh, but she's offering Pinterest management. I also want to offer Pinterest management. I mean, I like Pinterest, but not enough for it to be a full service, Oh, but she's offering this. So I haven't done like narrowed research to see what other people are doing like me, but I've seen what can be done in this space.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, just keeping it broad so that I'm not too focused on what they are doing. I want to learn and build, which is why the people I'm following are coaches and teachers and not just VAs and social media managers. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so it's more like inspiring and lifting you up, and I love that. That's really great. And then I think it would be also nice to touch on, so that's for people who wanted to start a similar business to you, but what about people who are looking to hire a VA? So one of the questions I got asked on my Instagram feed when I was speaking about having this conversation with you was a business owner wanting to start outsourcing some of her work, but her idea was to start tracking her activities first, so then she could hand those over to someone. So that sounds like a great idea, but do you have any tips for future clients of like, if they do want to start working with a VA, what are the first steps to take? How do you start thinking about the work? Like, any ideas for coaching the clients who will want to work with you?
I love this question so much. The first thing is to let go. And I'll give you an example. I had someone who came up to me and they needed help, but they wouldn't let go of their business for me to help them. So then nothing got done. So it's important to let go. Yes, it's your baby, and people like to believe that they're the best at what they can do. Not really. It's your baby, but there's some things you're not as awesome at doing. So the things you're not great at doing, maybe that's where you can start, is make a list of the things that are in your business that are important, but you don't like to do or you're not good at doing. Then you put those aside and be like, okay, this can be for my virtual assistant. Then the next thing is to think about your processes, like how you do your things. Okay. Because obviously you want your things to appear like this is your stuff. You want it to maintain the same voice throughout, whether it's your social media, whether it's your emails that you're sending to your clients. You want your clients to see that it's coming from you and not from your assistant. It should be seen. So now you need to figure out, how do you want your things to be done, whether it's you've got your branding in order, you've got your writing style, you've got your ideas, and put that all together. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to have an idea. So something that we actually did when we were doing the social media, you're like, I like this post, and then you'd send it to me and be like, I like the style of posting. Is this something we can do? And so you have to have some ideas of what you want. You have to have a job description. So I want you to send 500 emails every week or blah, blah, blah. And I want you to send them to this. And then the other things is setting up processes and systems. So even before you are expanding, start writing the things down to say, on Mondays, I send a newsletter to all my clients. On Wednesdays, I send invoices on whatever, right? So that when you're actually handing over the work, even if it's not perfect, when you give it to your VA, whatever, they will at least have somewhere to start from. They'll at least know, okay, this is what was being done. This is how I need to either follow through or make it better. But I can't make it better if I don't even know what it is. Right? I don't even know what you're doing on Mondays or what you're doing on Tuesdays. And that's where how people then don't know if they need help. But sometimes the reason your business is not growing is because you're not getting the help. When you get the you remove the things that you don't need to do and you focus on the things that you like to do. And then your VA will do it. Another thing is, don't worry about cost. That's important. Don't worry about cost, because as a VA, I'm dedicated to your business success, because if you succeed, I get paid.
Totally.
And don't think of a VA as an employee. People like that. People like that. It's actually something you should separate. VAs or any other freelancers that you work with, they are not your employees. They're there to support you. And going back to my previous point, if you succeed, they succeed. If you think about your employee mentality, like you went to work 9 to 5, you probably worked 4 hours out of the 8 that you were at work. You played your games, talked to your friends, went on 12 smoke breaks, even if you didn't smoke like I did. When the smokers went, I went outside also.
Yeah.
So that mentality, stays at work. When you're working in a business, you are collaborating together. Okay. You succeed, I succeed. So that's when then, if you think of it like that, that's when it would be easy to let go of the things that you need, because you know this person is going to do well for you. But also importantly, do some research. Don't just because you've seen a profile or someone came into your DMs and be like, I can offer you some services. Don't just jump on. Look at what like their credibility. So for you to find out about me, people recommended me to you. So you knew, okay, this person is credible. Then you further went and did research. You went on my website, you went on my Instagram, and you saw, okay, actually this makes sense. So do that part, because people have been duped or manipulated by people claiming to be good. But if you do a little bit of research, you'll find someone who works, and work on a trial basis. So maybe start with a month or a 3-month trial. If it's not working, then you can just say cheers and end it nicely.
Yeah. That's brilliant. I have a few questions. The first one is, would you help someone map out their processes and their systems? So, because it's kind of like a combination where the person, like they need to be able to hand things over. Like you said, that was like tip number one, let go, get support, hand things over. But also they need to have some kind of systems and processes in place you can support with. But what if you're in that interim position where you you need help, but you don't have your systems mapped out yet? Like, is that something that you could help people with, is actually get their systems and processes in place?
Yes, that's something I can help with. But the thing is, we just need to have an idea of what's happening and where they want to go. So there still needs to be an element of research on their side to say, I want to run my business like IBM. Okay, I don't know why I chose IBM, but I want to run my business like IBM does. Okay, what does IBM do? They have weekly meetings on Thursdays. They send their invoices on Friday. At least have an idea of what you want to be done. And then even when I make the suggestions, it's easy for you to say, okay, this suggestion, not a good suggestion. This one I like, let's add it in. But you can't just be like, I want a virtual assistant and then, hi, let's work together. Give me some ideas, because when we do have the calls, I will ask you some questions. Do you have a budget? Do you have an idea of how you want things to be? Do you have a process? What is the process for sharing documents? Stuff like that. So I will ask you those things. It will take a bit of time. So maybe you then need to be patient with the process to say, we're building the processes, this is going to take time. And then
yeah, I love it. Because I think that's kind of what we did. We built the processes as we went. Like there was but I had an idea of how I wanted us to work together, but I didn't have many of my systems or processes in place. So we kind of built those as part of our working together, which was really like hugely beneficial. And this year I'm in such a much better place. Like I'm starting the year like at a next level because I've got all the foundations that we laid together, which is so helpful. And then the other thing that I really like that you said, the way I interpreted it is like, it's this more human like partnership. So it's not this like employee corporate robotic kind of structure. This is a real human partnership where you come together and you kind of like can bounce off each other. You are both in line with the same goals and the same vision. So it's just a much more supportive and connected way of working. But it also requires that connection. So there's like, I don't know how this is happening with your clients, but how do you feel about like how often do you speak to them face to face versus keep everything like automated in a system or process?
Well, right now I have one active client. So we're talking on WhatsApp. We've got a call scheduled soon. So we started in December. We've already had 2 calls and we've got another call scheduled. So definitely having either an hourly long call once a month or like the 30 minutes every 2 weeks definitely works, because then if there are any other small things that have fallen through the cracks, this is the time for those things to come up. Yes, we communicate on our systems, Asana, Trello, whatever, or emails, but then this type of face-to-face will help anything that you might have missed, and just also to maintain that connection that we're talking about, that you just need to be better plugged in to each other because of the type of work we're doing. We don't have those face-to-face as if we were in an actual office building or stuff. So we need to build the relationship in another way. We have a few meetings, we talk, even if it's like a WhatsApp video call, 2 seconds, whatever, what's happening, blah, blah, blah. That still helps. So
yeah, I love it. And I think actually just reminded me, I think the thing that was so helpful between us was just the WhatsApp, like voice notes, messages. That was like very consistent communication, which was super helpful. Great. And then maybe we'll just finish up with some big picture thinking. So I'd love to know like a bit about your dreams for 2021, like what's your dream for this year? But also then we'll dive in a little bit further, because when we started coaching, and I think you did my Vision of Success challenge, but I also like to know, like, what is your actual, so maybe let's start there. What's your ultimate vision of success? What are you like dreaming your life will be like with your success of your business?
I think working less, but actually just being more effective and efficient. Because right now I think that there's still a lot to be improved there. Being able to take up coaching and really like dig deep into that, and then if the world opens up again, working from somewhere that's not here. So it could be at this point in time, it could be anywhere. Mostly Southeast Asia is looking good for me. But Europe is always on my list. So, so working working remotely, like properly. Right now I'm working from home, I also want to like do a bit of travel with my work and have a team. I would definitely like to have a web developer. I mean, I did my website myself. It's okay.
It's beautiful. I love it.
But it could be better, So once I make some money to get an actual web developer to do the things I want them to do, then I'll get them on board. And copywriting, like I mentioned earlier, my writing is not. So I would like to also have a copywriter on board, and maybe my own VA one day.
Definitely.
So if you want to make you start your business, maybe I can. You can be my VA.
Perfect. That's so good. I love it. And I like that you said that, like, so you'll have your own team, be traveling the world, working less, but working more effectively. Like, that sounds wonderful. Yeah. And your steps for 2021, like, how do you see this year going and what are your goals and dreams?
For 2021 is more clients. I would want to not have clients. Like in December, I had 3 clients on pause. Okay, so that's like I don't have any work. And then thankfully I signed on someone in December. So I had a bit of work, but I want to have constant cash flow. So possibly this year developing ways of making money even if I'm not working, like actively. I haven't thought of how that's gonna come through, but that's one of my goals. And then just to be more niched down, like really narrow down my services. So I've got a few courses that I've signed up for that I just actually need to do and finish. I actually wrote a whole series, like courses on writing, courses on Facebook. Like Facebook has their own courses. I think it's called Facebook Blueprint. Just to do that, to be more efficient in how I use Facebook for myself and for my clients. So that's how I want this year to be about. Just me learning and bringing things together neatly. So I'm not looking to like make millions of dollars in this year. I don't mind if they come, but that's not the goal. The goal is to actually learn how to work better, learn how to actually work from home, because last year was like the starting point, figuring out how to work with clients, I was really starting from the ground. Now it's making sure that that foundation is solid before I move on to the next things. Because this was one thing I learned with my other client was, let's not pile on stuff before we fixed the stuff like at the bottom. So that's my 2021. Not
Tell me, yeah.
like,
No, it's brilliant. I love it. But tell me a little bit more about that. Not piling on stuff, fixing the things at the bottom first.
So we always had he was a visionary, or he's a visionary. So he's got ideas. I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. I'm like, no. And so I was the voice of reason. I'm like, no, we can't just jump onto this new idea. Let's make this one idea that we were working on last week work. Okay, let's give it 3 weeks. If it works for 3-4 weeks, we jump onto the next idea.
Nice.
And there was a week where it worked, and then we moved on to the next idea. But sometimes it would fall through the cracks, things wouldn't happen. And so that is my idea. Before moving on to the next thing, make sure the small things are working efficiently, effectively, nicely before you jump onto the next thing. I feel like it will make it easier when you've got 3, 4, 6 projects running at the same time. You are able to actually keep your eye on each ball because things are sorted out. Yeah, when we're talking about balance, it doesn't really balance, but it's good to know that things work and how things should be before you move on to the next project. So that's why I said like my money coaching is on hold for now, because my VA stuff is taking center right now, and I feel like that's what I need to do at the moment.
Amazing.
And my nephew.
Oh, sorry. We can wrap up soon. I just want to ask 2 more questions. First one is, do you want to give me a goal? So let's say by April, how many clients would you love to have by April?
Well, at the moment, I have 1 social media client and 1 wellness coaching client. I would like to have, I think, 6, so 5 new clients by April.
Nice.
For social media. The wellness coaching, it's working with this client, but it's not, she came to me. It's not something I advertised to say, I'm going to be doing wellness coaching. So maybe make a decision about that. Do I want to go like life coaching, or do I want to go finance and wellness? Because with wellness, she's in charge really of her journey. I'm like there to be the support. I ask the tough questions. We have a call, that type of thing. But with finance coaching, there's a lot more involved. So I think I'll just stick with the 1 wellness coaching client. If someone else comes and be like, oh, can you be my wellness coach? I will jump on board with them, but I'll stick with the social media clients. Yeah.
Okay, so 5 new social media clients. Is that what I'm hearing? Yes. Brilliant. Okay, well, we'll check in with you in this group and you can let me know how the goals are going. And anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
I will say this is now just if you're starting an online business, or if you have one, just keep doing what you're doing. Do your research, collaborate. That's a good one, because that's something I focused on also last year, which I think helped me to be seen as an expert in my field. So collaborate with people, leverage what you have, leverage your social media platforms, and don't be afraid. I find this a lot in one of the virtual assistant groups I'm in. Oh, I'm afraid to post, but really, what's the worst that could happen? Okay, no one signs up with you. So like, it doesn't matter. Well, maybe for me that I'm a bit like blasé about things. I'm like, whatever, it didn't work, move on to the next thing. So don't be too hung up on starting. Just go for it, and it'll work out. It might not work out in 6 months, but it will work out. Just do the work, be persistent, be consistent. And yeah, here's to an awesome 2021.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for your time. And I love that last piece of advice of what's the worst that can happen? Like that's actually like something, it's almost like a mantra of mine that I stick with all the time. Like, so especially with social media, it feels so public and so out there, but actually really in the grand scheme of things, there's probably not that many people seeing your post, and you can always delete things. So what's the worst that can happen? Just try it out. And if you show up, chances are you're going to get a client. Like it just seems to happen. So rather put yourself out there and see what happens. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been so nice reconnecting and checking in with you. And
I forgot to ask, did we get any questions on Facebook?
None when I looked the last time. Let me just quickly check again. None yet, but I think it might just be with the different time zones. So if people do have questions, they could just post in the comments, and then I can always
check back. Yeah,
perfect. And I'll also just chat with you about the resources that you can share, like the links to your blogs and to your website, and we can put those in the notes also.
Yes.
So
actually, I do have one. I know it's for the year end, but since we're still starting the year, I have this checklist for your business where you get to check like your website, your email list, and stuff like that. So that is something we can definitely give the viewers to take a look at before they start, because I know everyone's going back to work on Monday, like full force. So this would be a good time to actually check it out.
Perfect, a checklist. I love checklists are my favorite also. That's such a great way to start the year. So I'll do that for myself as well. I love it. Amazing. Okay, thanks, Sam. I don't know if you want to stay on the call. I'll just end the live and then we can just quickly wrap up. But thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Stop.